Hello, happy Sunday, all, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk, where we cut the small talk and have conversations of substance. I'm your host, Evergreen, and our very special guest today is Marcus with the topic of fatherhood. So let's get right into it. Welcome to the show, Marcus.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Evergreen. It's a pleasure to be here.
How are you feeling on this lovely Sunday?
It's been a beautiful day so far. I'm hanging with my son, my 6 month old son, and just enjoying the Sunday, enjoying the holiday kind of break.
That's good to hear. Yeah, it's oddly nice day. It's almost like 60 degrees outside.
It is creepy. I have the screen door like wide open. I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna enjoy it while it's here. My boy's been sick, so he's getting some nice fresh air. I'm like, all right, I love it.
Oh, that's good to hear. Okay, so we're going to get right into our questions. The first question I have for you is what were your motivations for becoming a father?
That is a very deep and direct question. The honest way to answer that is my motivations for becoming a father were eh, really just accepting the decisions in my actions. Like my decisions, my actions led me to a point where in my at 33 years old, I got somebody pregnant, and I felt like I was at an age and a point in my life where I was prepared to do what you do when you get somebody pregnant, which is, step up and prepare to become a father. Like, I've never felt like men should be in the place of deciding what a woman does when she gets pregnant anyway. So when the mother of my child came to me and was like, "Hey, this where we at?" I was like, "Well, okay. What do you want to do?" And when she said she wanted to have the child, I was like, "Okay, let's get it then." I mean, I'm not at a point where I have any excuse to not step up. So let me just step up.
Um, so coming with that, how did you prepare for fatherhood, like physically, mentally, and emotionally?
Mm, I did a lot for real. And I did a lot because there's not really a guidebook for this anywhere. I did, I witnessed a lot of moms show up for, the mother of my child, and especially if she was pregnant. I just, and I watched all the different ways that moms really corral around each other and show up for each other. And I was like, man, it would be nice to have a little bit more of that as a new father, because I was doing my best to prepare, and I just did everything I could think of. Like, I was working out, I was finding new types of work. I was like, I had some stuff to deal with. I went through some challenges throughout the experience. And it was one day, one of the physical things I did, I put it on Instagram, and people would liked it because they was like, "Oh yeah, you really like that's a nice workout, whatever." Whole time I had a sledgehammer, and I went out back. I had a slab of concrete in my backyard, and like it had been there for maybe, I don't know, since I've been in that house as a kid. So I was like, well, I'm about to take this sledgehammer and just crush this joint and turn it into a garden. Like, my vision was to turn it into a garden, but the actual act of like taking a sledgehammer and crushing a like 10 square foot slab of concrete, that actually is one of the most rewarding and powerfully healing things I did physically, because it gave me a space to like really lift some heavy shit and break through something that was in my way. And like that's really what becoming a father has been like. So that was my preparation on that side, like physically. Mentally, it was similar, like just, allowing myself to be challenged by the different situations that I was in. Um, for me, becoming a father wasn't like in any way, shape, or form what somebody could call picture perfect as far as like the relationships like it that I have with the mother of my child. So, and it's not that it's terrible, but it's just like it didn't go the way it's planned. So, mentally, the preparation looked like being really realistic with myself about what was going to be best for me and best for my child, even though maybe traditionally that wasn't. Like nobody was going to support that decision at the time. Now, I sit here with a 6-month-old, and a lot of people understand exactly why I made some of the decisions I made back then. But at the time, a lot of people, I had to mentally prepare myself to just be okay with my decisions, just like I did when I decided that I was okay having this child.
Yeah. So I noticed that like you mentioned, the mother of your child, and you saying that like the relationship didn't go as planned. So how has, like what's your views on co-parenting and how is that going for you?
Whew. Um, to put my views on co-parenting as simply as possible, it's probably maybe one of the most difficult callings that you could have as a human in this day and age to co-parent. Um, that I've experienced. It's definitely my most difficult task. How's it going? Co-parenting has been like, hmm, it's like a group project with somebody in a class that you already decided you really not trying to be friends with or cool with, or y'all tried that, y'all tried that, it ain't go well, and now y'all on a group project, and it's like you have to work together though. And the group project is the only, it's like there is no like, well, forget the group project. Like the group project is the most important thing to you in your entire life. So it's the dilemma is that you have a person who you probably do not want to interact with any more than you have to, that you have to have a lot of interaction with because y'all's group project is like some of the biggest shit y'all gonna do. And that experience is challenging because you hit all types of road bumps on both sides. Like I know, like for every time that she's you know felt like a road bump to me, I'm sure I've done the same for her. It's not even like a thing where I'm like, oh, I'm solo in this experience. It is a challenging experience, I would say, on both sides. And in my side, I'm doing my best to just like I said, stay in reality. Like I think preparing myself to deal with reality has helped me a lot. Um, it's difficult because some days you wake up and reality is not something that is easy to swallow. Um, but if if you figure out how to deal with it enough days, it's like the cool part of the reality is I have like the coolest experience ever. Like this guy is sitting over here pulling on my fingers, just understanding how to use his hands and listen to me talk, and very calm and chill. Like it's like you get this experience of watching somebody grow. And yeah, maybe the experience of the person that you do that with is one of the roughest ones in life, but it shows you why all of our little like indiscriminate BS that we get into with people is like meaningless and pointless. Like everything shady that we ever do, or every lie we ever tell to somebody, every time we disrespect or take advantage of somebody, is really pointless because you're taking from somebody who really ain't got no skin in the game. They just here because y'all decided to bring them here.
Yeah, facts. And I think that's important to touch on when co-parenting is like, I have a lot of friends who were in the situation of their parents were at such disagreements that one party decided that, the other party wasn't going to be in their lives. And so I think like what you touched on is really important because no matter what differences both of the parents have, I think what's most important that both parties should keep in mind is that there is someone here now who needs the both of y'all,
Yeah,
and both aspects of the both of y'all, both the feminine and the masculine, that it's more important than disagreements and differences. So I like that you did touch on that.
it's not easy to deal with though. I would like it's one of those things that like I think about it almost every day because it's such a present part of my real life. Um, but it doesn't get it gets a lot harder before you even start to figure anything out. Like I'm at the point where I feel like some stuff I have figured out has, it seemed like it blew my mind how simple the answer was because it's nothing magical. It's just like remember what the point is. Like everything is, you got to remember what the point is. Like all the other stuff that gets in the way, it's like, yeah, but what's the point? If the child is the point, then like, all right, all this other stuff we gotta figure that out then.
So, obviously no one can replace either party, but ideally is a two-parent household like something that you would like to push towards?
I personally, I wasn't raised in a two-parent household, and I know some of the tolls that it took and takes on me even today as a grown man who I'm lucky enough to have a relationship with both my parents. I have a great relationship with my mom. I got a decent relationship with my pops. And, even though with whatever frustrations I had with him not being in the household, or me never really having a period of my life where I like lived with him or anything like that. Even with that, it's like there is a part of me that always yearned to give my son that experience of like, if I could have both of his parents living in the same household, that would be obviously ideal. Um, and we did that for a little while, like, just based on how the situation worked out. Like, when he first was born, we did that for some time. And, you know, I, I was okay with that just so that made the experience easier on everybody while we was all figuring it out and adjusting to like having a very newborn baby. At this point, my life has blessed me in an interesting way where some of the challenges that I worked throughout this whole experience, I'm in a position now where I do live with my life partner. So when my son is with me, he is in a two-parent household, even though it's not both of his parents, but she shows up for him the way a parent would, like in every way she can. So he does get the benefit of that, like genuine, actual, realistic support. So that's a part of it where, you know, I feel blessed about that. Like I feel really blessed that he does get the benefit of like, yeah, yo, it's two adults, and at least I mean it's two adults in the other household too. It's like, so it's like so he's getting the benefit of having not just one parent trying to just figure it out completely solo necessarily, um, but you know not in the traditional sense like, and I don't think he ever unfortunately will get that like. I don't see a future where his mom and I are able to put that together realistically. It's not really looking like that kind of situation. So, you know, that's the reality. I'm glad he can get what he's gonna get.
Absolutely. And it is definitely a blessing that you do live with your life partner and he is able to experience that aspect in some form. Um, you kind of touched into my next question that I was going to ask you, which was your father in your life and how important do you feel it is for children to have their fathers in their lives?
Yeah, my dad was around. Like I would never take that from my dad. One thing I'll say, like my dad was around to the point that my homies, like my niggas who didn't really have their dads around for whatever reason, they locked up or they gone. Um, like they could come holler at my pops if they really needed to. Like when we got to that age in high school, like it's a couple of my homies I specifically would just be like, "Yo, come on!" Like we'd go to my dad's house and sit, and it's sometimes it was helpful just to like my dad was the type of dad where it's like he ain't really we ain't have the relationship like what I would consider a father and son should have or what I would want, like even what I want with me and my son. But my dad was like he was like an older nigga who would you know, tell you what he knew. He was always that. So it's like, having that even, it was a benefit because for like I did get what my dad had. It took me a long time to realize that and reconcile with that, but like, because I wanted more from him, but I got what he had, and you know that's a benefit that I think works for me in my life to this day. I see some of my niggas who ain't had a dad at all and how that shit went for them when it came to some of the same moments. Like we was going through that shit together. It's some we went through the same shit. I just handled it differently. I had somebody who could at least help guide me, even if he couldn't show me. My dad ain't show me a lot, but he ain't not answer the phone when I called him and had questions or needed to know something, even if I ain't like the answer. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's hyper important for any child to have their father in their life, but for a young black man to not. I think that's one of the situations where it's automatically dangerous. It's not like possibly or potentially dangerous. It is dangerous.
Yeah. Even just like black women like not having their dads in their lives, I feel like that's equally dangerous as well.
Agreed, agreed. And it's just because of how our community is set up. It's like we make our kids so much more vulnerable to so many things by them not having just a reliable male source or even a reference. And even if it's not the dad that you want him to be, like my dad was never the dad that I think my mom wanted him to be or that I wanted him to be. But the nigga was available in the ways that he was available. And it kept me from doing a lot of dumb shit and experiencing a lot of dangerous stuff because he was there. Like he would pull up in the emergency situations. He would, answer the phone when I needed some advice on something before I made a decision.
Yeah. And so how do you feel like your upbringing influences your parenting style?
Yo, it made me like it started off like before I kind of got into the rhythm of it. It made me want to be like a super parent, which is not a great thing to try. So for anybody who listens to this, I hope you recognize that it's a normal thing to feel like you want to do. It's not realistic though. Like because my because of how my dad was in my perception of him in my life growing up. It's like I want to be there for everything with my son, which is like not realistic, especially at this point in his life. It's like this is not actually the part of his life where dad is the primary source of anything. Like maybe I make him laugh a little bit more or something like that, but that's probably about it. And I probably pick him up and do more fun swinging and carrying stuff. But other than that, right now it's just like he usually wants his mom. That's who he's most in tune with. That's who he like kind of yearns for. If he don't see her for a few days, it's like he'll start looking at me like, yeah, I want mommy. Not to say he won't do the same for me after a little bit too, but I recognize that I don't know the entire experience of just like watching what this has been like as a dad, and it's everything you go through influences like what you basically decide you will or won't subject your kids to. So all the moments that my dad missed, um, it's like those are the moments where I'm like, yeah, nah, you'd have to kill me to make me miss this for him. Like you literally had to put a gun to my head. And some of the interactions we have is just like it feels like it means more to me because I know I'm building a foundation with him where it's like, yeah, you're gonna be used to me being here and being like with you and living with me and all these things for your entire life. Like it's not gonna be abnormal for you to come sleep at my house, or it's not gonna be like a special treat, or oh, I'm staying with my dad for 2 weeks. That's cool. Like that's how it used to be for me. It was like, oh, that's cool. I'm about to stay there for 2 weeks. That's about to be fun. I wonder when's the next time I'm gonna get to do that. Instead of that, it's gonna be more like, yeah, this is what I do at my dad's house. Like he's gonna grow up with memories of like what it's like being living with me. And I think that like the joy I get from it and my determination to create the space for him to have a great experience around it, I think that's what my upbringing did because I didn't have that, and I wanted it so badly, and I never really spoke on it a lot because I grew up around a bunch of niggas who had less,
Hmm.
so it's not something that I walked around on my sleeve like, damn, I wish my dad would do more. I just used to be quiet and be grateful for what he did. And then when I grew up, and especially when I became a dad, I had a few moments where, like, through the experience of even just her being pregnant and me preparing to become a dad, I had some crazy ass conversations with my dad, some fucked up conversations. I said some crazy shit to him. I asked him some wild questions. He gave me some wild answers. And man to man, we had it out a couple times. But through all of that, I gained respect for him to see like he really did give me what he had. He just ain't had that much. Like I realized they used to take a lot from black men back then. So a lot of us that miss stuff from our fathers specifically. I mean, our moms too. They took a lot from them too. But our moms have that. It's like a superpower as a mom. Like I don't know how or why. It's just like it's in there for moms somehow. But for dads, something they took from them while they was out in the world back then left them at a lack for what they even wanted to give to us. And, I've had the conversation with my dad and asked the questions. Like, I'm in sales, so, and I'm pretty good at it. So I don't beat around the bush when it comes to the question that I want the answer to. So I've asked the questions like, hey, why didn't you do this for me when I was a kid? Why didn't you do this for my siblings? Why don't you answer these questions? Why don't you tell them what happened? I've asked those questions. And it informed me knowing like, yo, I'm gonna be as straight up with my son as I can be. I don't want to paint no crazy picture for him about what the world looks like or who anybody is that's gonna make him a cynic or anything like that. But he gonna know the reality of what life is like, maybe a little earlier than the average little person. No, he's not gonna grow up with me lying to him so that stuff lands more softly. Like he wants to admit it, but like that's what it is. Like moms will cover for the dad when the dad is doing his best, and I'm like, sometimes it's like, I get it sometimes, but if you really cover for him at a certain point, it's like when the man, if a young man grows up and realizes who his dad is, and his dad really wasn't who you built him to be, he gonna have some problems with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that rolls it back to that's why it's so important for both parties to be present in the child's life. Because there's different ways that moms, parent, and then there's different ways that dads parents that just brings it all together.
Yeah,
Yeah. Were there any generational curses in your family that ends with you? Like that you're like, I for sure am not passing this down to my children.
yeah. The hardening of the young men, like the young men not being able to even figure out who they are before they have to be something. I know that's done right here. I also know the thing that's done is um, the curse where a young man, not even a young man, where a father who becomes a father feels trapped by the relationship with the mother um, when he knows it's not healthy for him, like for any amount of time. Like I know a lot of dads who they stick it out and they like they want to be in their child's life, so they stick it out with the woman and in the relationship for however much longer. When both of them know it's over, but they don't want to end the relationship, and he's doing it because he wants to be around his kid. And I'm like, bro, you can be like I think I want to end the idea and the curse in my family where it's like, yo, the men and the women that stick in these relationships with somebody who's like literally not good for you to be in a relationship with. I'm like, wouldn't it be healthier for y'all to be out of an unhealthy relationship so that you could be a healthier parent?
Yeah, that's facts. Also, just because like after a while, the kid starts getting older, and then depending on the awareness of the parents and the maturity of the parents, sometimes the energy that y'all have with each other, it starts to come out around the child. And so then they start to see like what the unhealthy parts of the relationship is. And it's like, do you really want your kid seeing that? Or would you much rather see, your kid seeing the healthy side of a relationship?
And for that, I'm like, the healthy side doesn't come while you're in a situation that isn't doing either of y'all any good, while it's toxic, while y'all secretly just, it's like y'all can't even be real with each other about what's going on. And I think that's my biggest thing that I want to break for my family. Like my family has a real issue with, and it happens in so many ways that like it just happened the other day with my niece in another situation with one of her kids where something else came out that was covered up and hidden. My family has a secrets issue, like on both sides of my family. My maternal and paternal lineages both have issues with secrets and not bringing the truth to light. That we deal in like a fantasy land where we nothing we did was wrong, regardless of who got hurt and how it affected people. And we don't deal with our own children in the ways that our decisions have affected our children. And then we like just put them in crazy ass situations and just expect them to understand and then be mad or upset with them or have some issue with them when they call us out. Like that's what happened. That's the cycle in my family. And it's crazy because like it's happened, it's a cycle in a way where like so my dad, I'm not saying he started it, but that's where I have witnessed it from. But like my dad has a situation with my sister, my older sister. They got a strange they have a strange relationship and a certain type of issue with each other when it comes to communication and accountability for things and actually telling the truth about what happened around certain situations. And now My sister has that same issue with my niece, her daughter, her oldest daughter. It's like it's and like I mean it's to the point where like if I when I talk to my niece about it, we feel like we reading like a sitcom because it's too well written and aligned where it's like yo it's textbook like she copied and pasted it, but she's written a letter to him to tell him all the things that she feels, and in that space it's like you kind of have to step back and be like, oh, this is actually a generational curse. I'm watching you do something to somebody that you're upset with somebody for doing to you. The person you're upset with was your parent. The person you did it to is your child.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you say that because, every family has generational curses. And I feel like within my family, I am the person who is always like, y'all don't see the cycles that y'all are in. Like, like I'm always asking those questions. And I just think it's really interesting that, the blinders can be on so hard that people don't notice it. Like they literally look past it, and then like you said, they end up doing it to their children. So yeah, like I am mainly the catalyst in my family to just bring more awareness to the fact that things do be textbook, and it's kind of really obvious when you sit down and look at it. But I think, when people are operating out of like what they know and they don't really know any better, it's really hard to get them to see that as well.
It's not something typically I think most people can see. So I think the only reason I've even had some of the conversations I had to call it out with my family, and it's been from my own personal work with yoga and meditation and really deepening my spiritual awareness of myself so that as I went through this type of experience, it didn't become like a blame game for me. Not the whole time. Like it started there. Everybody, I mean, I feel like everybody goes through that part, but it quickly transitioned from blame to like, why didn't my parents do it like that? So I just had questions. Like I asked a lot of questions, and the answers were the things that maybe led to some tough conversations because the answers just show you like, yo, I mean, yeah, some people really didn't have it to be a parent, and it happens to this day. Some people just don't really have it to be a parent and not really ready for what that means when it comes, and they might spend their child's whole life trying to figure it out.
You touched on this kind of a bit earlier, but what are some challenges that fatherhood brings?
Hmm. Whew, time. Goodness gracious, there's no such thing as enough time. You don't have enough time to do anything. So now you just I don't know. That's a superpower you gain. It's challenging because you never have enough time for anything, and somehow you still get things done, some way, shape, or form. Um, Another big challenge is uh, navigating relationships in any capacity and how you show up in them because you're a different person. And it's weird. Like the person that you are before you find out that you got somebody pregnant and y'all about to actually do that is a little bit different from the person you are when somebody is pregnant for 9 months and you're there, doing what you can to support them. And is also different from the person you become when that baby comes out and you look at them and their face for the first time. Like when he was born, I told people this for like a week after, but when he was born, so was I. Like it was a immediate like, oh, this person that y'all are about to meet, this version of me, Marcus Stanback, y'all have never met this guy before. Like I don't even know who he is all the way. He shows up completely differently and does things I've never seen him do before. So the biggest challenge is like acclimating to who you are again. You take a big step away from a lot of stuff, and then you figure out how to bring some of that back in. Some of it you don't care for as much anymore, and you deal with that. Um, and then some of it is just like being in a relationship with anybody in general. You're like, yo, you're automatically secondary to somebody else right now. And it's interesting how many, like, the thing I learned is like people who understand that are 100% my type of people. And all of them don't necessarily have children, they're just parent minded. Like, I, I learned that I enjoy parent minded people, and that I say that's challenging because I learned something about myself that actually limits who I care to spend my time around. Like if you're not parent minded, it's like I don't feel like, not that I'm wasting my time talking to you, but like it's not a productive use of my time talking to you unless we're talking actual business and money or something like that, but like, or resources exchange. But like other than that, it's like, hey, if I wouldn't feel safe with you around my kid because you're not parent minded, I'll pass on the interaction. Most of the time on the business, I'll pass on the whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Um, and that is definitely something that has resulted from, like, it's a challenging thing. You look at people differently. A lot of the stuff that would have been okay is just not. uh, and yeah, it changes who you are entirely.
How about some rewarding aspects of fatherhood?
There's so many. Uh, it's like every day you get one. Every day you really do get one. Like I got my favorite, most recent one yesterday. My son just randomly, I was just picking him up. I think he was about to go out to the car, and he looked right at me, and he was like, "Bye bye." He said, "Bye bye." I was like, "Hey yo, did you just say bye bye? Did you just? Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo." It's just like it's so many little small things like that, and then there's big things like um, the days that I, for whatever reason, find it in myself to take a moment and be like, "Yo, I've been a dad for now 6 months." Like this little boy lights up when I walk in the room. Like if he hasn't seen me for a day and I walk in, he's gonna like just turn up, super excited. He's gonna make noise. He's gonna scream. And I'm like, it's there's no better reward than that. The only thing that comes a little bit close is when people see you with your child, and they, especially as a father, like, and I think maybe we don't say it out loud enough, but it is nice to hear from anybody, like when people just see me out moving with my dad, with my kid, and they just be like, yo, you can tell you're gonna be fine, you're gonna do great at this, like you're on top of it, you're a good dad. And it's like that goes a long way for somebody who's just started doing it and is really doing their best. And I think it goes a long way into the times where it's like, this is not the hardest part of parenting I'm ever experienced. I doubt it. But these moments and experiences are fueling me for all of that stuff to come. So the reward is the reward is really the shit that's one of the things that makes it hard to deal with with our parents in that generation sometimes, because I'm like, the real reward is just being around your kid and witnessing their existence and them growing up and how they interact with you and what you provide for them. Like there are times that your kid will cry and be in a terrible mood and you pick them up and it goes away. It's the hugest reward ever.
Yeah. Did you have plans of having children before you got the mother of your children pregnant, or was it like something that you might have been on the fence about, or
I, I was one of those people who like always was like, yeah, I'll probably have a child one day, at least one. I was the only reason I was on the fence because the world's crazy and weird, and my experience with women wasn't one where I was like feeling like it was happening anytime soon for what I was looking for. And I'm sure I probably had just as much to do with that as the women I dealt with, because you attract what you're looking for. So, but as I started to kind of get into this phase of my life, I definitely was like, yeah, I'm here. It's about to happen. So I'm not, like, I wasn't like, oh, what? A child pregnant? What? Huh? No, it wasn't like that. It was more like, okay, okay. Like I kind of knew it was coming. I knew it was entering that era of my life. The one thing I will say though, I think just for anybody, even if you, especially if you are considering having children, I think the thing that I didn't understand, because my parents didn't talk to me about it enough, yeah, if at all. Um, but one thing I didn't understand for real, you, the best thing you can do if you want your child to grow with both of their parents in the household, the best thing you can do is get to know somebody as well as humanly possible before you get pregnant with each other. Before y'all go, take that step. You want to know each other well enough to know, like, on a day that they pissed you off about as much as you think they could piss you off, that you are still willing to wake up the next day and give it another shot with them. Because if you're not, that is not a person you should have a child with. It's just not. Like, it's not a smart decision anyway. You're gonna make it harder on both of y'all and the child. That's something that I don't think I really understood. And we don't hear it enough. Like, we see too many people just, go at it on the fly. I ain't gonna call it broken home, but just like go at it on the fly and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna rock this. Like, I'm a parent this single and they're a parent this single. And it's like, I guess y'all, like, I get it, but that's not doing the kids any justice.
Yeah, I will have to agree. I asked that question because, I did have some friends who were people who just like you were like, oh yeah, maybe I'll have a kid one day, or maybe I'm on the fence about it, and then them after having their child like say the same things that you say, like, oh my God, like this is such a rewarding experience. So I always find that interesting. Like I feel like at the end of it, whether it was planned or it wasn't, or you was thinking about having one, or you was just like, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
when they actually get there, like everybody pretty much comes to that same conclusion of, oh my God, like this is probably, it's challenging, but this is probably one of the best things ever.
100%. It's definitely that. I think it'd be a hard time finding a parent who you could argue that down with, because yeah, I think most of us would agree on that. It's is the rewards outweigh the challenges 100%. And that's a crazy thing to say. It's insane to say that out loud, but it's true. The rewards do outweigh the challenges, even though the challenges some days stack far enough that you feel like you can't see the next day. But it really just takes one good look into this little guy's eyes for me, and I'd be like, all right, well, and I'm like, let's call it what it is, right? Like, I'm a black man, my first kid. I got a son. I'm like, what am I like? What am I about to complain about? Like, people, like, what am I really about to complain about? I have a healthy, tall, strong boy. Like, I have nothing to complain about. Not for real, for real. I got a bunch of stuff I could say,
Yeah.
but the stuff that's actually like wrong in my way right now, not really anything worth mentioning.
Yeah, that's
Not really.
understandable.
And if anything, I got an extra lesson plan with him. Like, they accelerate your lesson plan. That's what they really do. It's like whatever you was trying to figure out, it might have took you 5 years without them. They give it to you in about 9 months.
Yeah. What values do you hope to instill into your child?
I want him to be honest, like a genuine honest person. I want him to know that being real and truthful with people is worth more than any dollar amount or any opportunity or any resource. I want him to know that everything that he ever needs will genuinely be provided as long as he shows up, um, like as who he is. As long as he shows up with effort and will and wanting to be a decent member of society, it's like the rest is gonna kind of just happen for you. I want him to have like the value of understanding that one of the most like important and valuable things in this life is your family, your loved ones, the people around you, the community you build. Um, and in that same breath, it's important to like really be intentional about how you do that. Like, to find folks who do uphold the same level of integrity or a similar level of integrity and similar values about how they want to show up honestly as people. Because I'm not really going to be big on what type of person he is. as long as he becomes a true and honest person. Like whoever he is and truly is, that's what I want him to be. And I want him to have values to support him standing on that and knowing that that's okay.
Yeah. So you say you have been a father for 6 months now. How have you been remaining, grounded during this journey?
Hmm. It's been a mixture. Like, it's been a mixture of continuing some of the movement practices that I've had since, before becoming a father, whether that's rock climbing or yoga, little interesting combination of like a lot of outdoor time with him, especially when it was warmer out. Um, Spending a lot of time with my feet in the grass and with him in my arms and my feet in the grass. That was something I did a lot when he was first born. It was warm out, and like just taking time to like genuinely sit with him. Like sometimes he's quiet, we chilling. It's the evening time. I'm about to put him in bed, or it's even now. Like if we weren't talking, we'd probably just be sitting. Like I'll meditate and just sit still with him as a grounding practice for both of us. And I find ways to like still be a human. Basically, like I went to my friend had like a pajama party the other night. Um, he was with his mom, so we went over to that and like just doing little stuff like that to just be a human. Me and my partner went to the for my birthday. She uh, set up a session at the Rage Room for us. So that was actually a really interesting, powerful, and grounding experience because it was like, you know, you go through a lot becoming a parent, and especially in my situation, and walked out of there after breaking some shit and just felt like it was like you smoked 10 joints, and but like it only took 20 minutes. That's the level of release I had. It was just like, dang. Like I got in the car and it's like I don't think I even rolled up when we got out. Like I was just like, I'm good. We could just go get something to eat and go home. I'm like, I actually feel great right now.
That's good to know because I've been wanting to go to a rage room. And so that was just like confirmation right there.
Highly recommended. Oh man. Especially if you really got something to get off your chest. I let it get personal in there for a second. That's why I think that's why I felt so good after. I let it definitely get personal for a second.
So how has your yoga practice been going? Because that's how I came to know you through yoga. So yeah, how was that going?
It's changed a lot. Like I don't I'd be lying if I said my practice looks anything like what it looked like 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I used to get up like I would say 3 to 5 days a week minimum, and do like a 60 to 90 minute physical asana practice, some sort of breath work, probably meditate. Now it looks like sometimes 5 to 10 minutes of meditation on my lunch break. I work from home. Um, Sometimes it looks like, shit, he'll be up middle of the night. I put him to bed. It's 4 a.m. Like, well, I'm up now. So it might look like that. Sometimes it looks like, yo, we just made it through the day. I'm just going to lay down in the bed and just be here for a minute and then just go to sleep. Like it looks completely different. It's more like I implement everything I've learned in yoga and managing the energy I need to just do my life. That's what it really looks like. It's no longer like the mat doesn't get rolled out hardly at all. It's like I ain't got time. The 30 seconds it would take to roll the mat out is too precious. I'm like I could have done two poses.
Yeah, I honestly think, that's what these tools are in a sense. Like they're not something that we should be holding on to forever, but it's that those things that, like you said, just teach you and allow you to learn things along the way so that you can be prepared for other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think my practice, the way it was when it was firm and structured for so long, I think it's prepared me for fatherhood in a way where, like, my son is on a schedule pretty much already. Like, he eats every 3 to 3.5 hours when he's with me. He'll He take a bath every 3 days, whatever. And then like it's like his nighttime routine. If he's taking a bath, it's like we bath, change his clothes, we kick it for a second. I might sing something to him or read to him, and then it's like nighttime, and it's like we had a whole thing where he ain't used to like to go to sleep. And it's like the structure gave me a system where it's like figured out a system for him where he might give it 10 minutes of talking and moving around. Next thing I know, this boy would be knocked out. Just leave him in the dark. So I feel like the structure helps because I approach like how to care for him with some structure too.
Yeah, that's nice. So yeah, those are all the questions that I have for you for our episode. However, I do have some closing cues to close us out. So my first one for you is, what inspires you the most?
Hmm. I could take the easy answer and say my son. Or what really inspires me the most is the the potential I see for like how much opportunity I could create for him just by paying attention and being a decent dad. That's the most inspiring thing in my life right now.
Okay. And how do you recharge?
Whew. Let's see. I still roll a joint after work every day. Still do that. Um, I definitely have been. I've made it like religious. My commitment to go to the gym at least once or twice a week. Um, Typically, it's going to be twice, but I know that with my son being sick, one of those times kind of got interrupted. But I'm like, that one time still made it. So it's like religious about getting to the gym more frequently. Um, and time with my lover, like time with my partner, to really be the recharge. She's also a parent. She's got a 15-year-old daughter, so a lot of the stuff that I'm experiencing, she's not only experienced it, but she's like made her way all the way through it, uh, beyond the parts that I'm experiencing now, at least. And she has she got a bird's eye view. So spending time, like even just being genuinely honest with her about my experience, it's a great way for me to recharge a lot of times because I get feedback that is actionable and like considerate, like just considerate feedback, which is something I think more men need, like considerate feedback when they're just doing their best as a new father.
Yeah. I think that's the first time I've probably ever heard someone say that they recharge at the gym.
Oh yes, most definitely. If I go to the well, and it's not like I don't go to the gym and like go lift weights. I go to the gym and rock climb.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
So like I will do a little bit of working out and stuff when I'm there too, but mostly I go to rock climb and I think it recharges me because it puts me in the mind state of like rock climb is difficult. It's just a difficult sport to participate in. It's difficult, it's dangerous, it's mental. It's very much like living as a black person in America. So when I go do that, I do think it's like what it does for me. It's like sometimes it just reminds me of how I've practiced all these difficult, dangerous, crazy things for 34 years now. My birthday just passed, so I'm like, it's been 34 years of me doing this, and I know I'm in a new state of. I've only been a dad for 6 months, so I'm 6 months old. But I'm like, even that, I think I'm gonna be okay. It's like it's my recharge from my mental state where I could be like, oh yeah, this is like you just survived rock climbing for 2 hours. You're fine, bro.
Yeah. What do you want to leave this world with, like your legacy?
Mm. Knowing that it's always gonna do you better to tell the truth,
Yes, truth always wins. I always say that.
and not to just sound like you told the truth, but to actually do it.
Mm-hmm. What lesson have you learned the hard way?
That most people are liars. The hard way, the hardest of hard ways. Most people, most people lie to themselves enough that by the time you catch them in the lie, they're upset with you for not believing it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I relate, and I know exactly what you mean by that.
So.
Yeah, and so the last one that I have for you is, what are you most thankful for?
My partner. If I skip the cliche things, and I say I'm most thankful for spirit and God and the guidance of my ancestors, which I very much am. The thing that people could see and touch and whatever that I'm most thankful for is my partner. She's been a godsend. I don't know where I found this lady, but wherever I found her, some good brothers. I hope they stumble upon that area and find some more like her. Cause man, um, she's been probably the most supportive individual person in this entire experience.
That's good to hear. Well, I appreciate you for hopping on and being a guest on my show. This was a lovely conversation. Let the people know where they can find you so that they might tap in with you if you have any offerings or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, right now I'm not even currently putting out any offerings. In the new year, I will be dropping some things, and I'll be relaunching my website at dailygrowthyoga.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Daily Growth Yoga. I'll be returning to some minor content things in the new year, probably, but I'll be focusing more on YouTube. So check out my YouTube link. You can find all that through my website and through my social media. And that'll be where I'm really just probably gonna do stuff to between physical yoga asana and discussions around the a yogic perspective on parenting.
Okay, that's cool. And it's cool that you said that as well, just because I am also like shifting my focus more to YouTube, and I have talked to a few others who are doing the same as well. So I wonder if there's like a collective movement of sorts towards
Yeah.
that platform.
Yeah, I feel like YouTube is going to give me the ability to reach the people who actually want access to a library of like the type of information I have to share. Like, if you want to do yoga with a black man, for example, like I have enough videos that I've created where I could have a mini studio on YouTube where you could do that. I have enough conversations where and thoughts and journals about, topics around whether it's parenting or practicing yoga as a black person in America, what that really looks like all these types of things where I'm like, I'm not really into the content for selling tickets to events and stuff like that anymore, which is what I did on Instagram. I'm kind of more at the point where I'd rather just connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
Because the connection is really where I'd rather build a community around genuine people who are going through the same things because I have not figured this all out. I'm no expert on it. I'm new. I'd be putting this out in a way of saying like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Who else can relate and like can we build a forum around this type of experience because we don't talk about it enough as fathers, specifically black fathers.
Yeah, and I too can relate to that. That's one of the reasons why I've been feeling the call to move towards that platform as well, just to highlight more authenticity, like you said. Like you don't have all the answers, but just building that genuine community of people who know we are all human and we're real. And like Instagram, I feel like is like a highlight reel. Like people are only showing the good things, but they don't really show the full circle real life things. And so that's what I'm leaning more into, just more authenticity all around.
Yeah, yeah. And I do find that, even with the content that I connect with on YouTube, it's usually, I'm more connected. I'm actually like, I'm more community connected. I'm more tapped in. So I recognize that, I did the Instagram thing for a while. It's not really for me. Even the people I connect with and the way I connect with them on Instagram, it really didn't, a lot of it didn't work out for me. Not none of it. Some of it was great. Like some of the people I met on Instagram are great friends of mine now. But some of the people I met on Instagram have just the relationships in real life have not honored who they say they are,
Mm-hmm.
and that's rough. Cause I'm like, yo, you put out a lot of content, you say a lot, you talk a lot of shit on here, and um, that's
The
not who you
reality
are.
is not the same. Yeah.
That's not actually who you are, and I know that because I know you in real life now. And
Yeah.
if I would have just been watching on here the whole time, that's scary because I might still be fooled, and I'm like, I don't know about this as a platform for me to connect with the right people. It's not really doing that for me anymore.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that one. And with that being said, this concludes our episode for today. Thank you everyone for watching. And as always, stay tuned for the next one.